I have a bunch of guitar parts left over because I have been Frankensteining essentially a new guitar with an exchange with a replacement neck with new pickups and electronics, etc. So I have a guitar that I've had for a long time, and pretty much everything on it has been replaced. So I have a lot of parts lying around. So I decided I want to get a cheap guitar body, and I got this one here off of Amazon. This is your typical Strat body. It's it's Chinese fabricated. It's very cheap. It's very light. The wood is called, I believe, candlewood, kind of soft. Well, I'm not a big believer in tone wood, at least on the body. I believe the tone of a electric guitar comes mostly from the neck and the hardware, and then last not least, obviously, pickups. So I'm not too worried about this, unless we'll find out later if it's too light, if the guitar is still in good balance or not. In any event, the reason I have this and I wanted it is I want to finish it. This is unfinished. It even needs to be sanded a little bit. It's a little bit rough or almost fuzzy. I want to finish it with leather dye to achieve a transparent look. And then if everything comes out the way I hope it would, I hope it will, I want to put it together with the parts and then either keep it or sell it or whatever. So first and foremost, this is my experiment for the finishing. I have a lofty goal. I'd like to, let me switch the camera around. I'd like to create a faux binding. Essentially, I want to mask off the edges, dye the top of the guitar, and leave a maybe a quarter of an inch or so strip here where the color is just stays natural, and it would give it the appearance as if there's a binding on the body. Now, this is a Strat body, and in typical fashion, all edges are kind of rounded. So there's not a real steep drop here at the edges. It's no 90-degree angle, it's all rounded. So I'll find out how well this is gonna work, and I'm gonna record the progress as I go along. I'm gonna mask this off with some painter's tape. And tonight it's already dark. I have to sand and do some of the work outside, so I'm gonna continue tomorrow. So this here is the starting point. We'll find out. So kind of as I expected. The problem is, because everything is rounded, to mask this off with tape and actually get the curves right. So I'm applying the masking tape from the side here, and then little by little I bend it over and squeeze it together, and I hope I get a proper curve along the outlines here. A Stratocaster body has always this part here tapered off. That's where your forearm goes when you play. It makes the whole body shape extremely ergonomic and comfortable. And I have currently the idea that where that line is, where it tapers off, that I might want to mask that off too, and maybe leave that part, not sure yet, either also natural or maybe in a different color. I think I want to go here with the transparent red, and maybe I want to leave that part orange or something. I haven't decided yet. But no matter what color, I'm planning, since I want to do this transparent, I want to enhance as good as I can the wood grain. And this is actually for a really cheap body. I mean, this is obviously nothing of particular beauty, but it has a pretty decent grain actually. It looks kind of nice. And I want to emphasize that. So what I'm going to do is, before I apply the actual dye with the actual color, I'm going to dye it black, and then sand it, let that soak in for a day or so, and sand it back a little bit, and then the dye should remain inside the wood grain, the black dye, and the top should come out light again, and that hopefully will enhance the grain altogether when I apply the actual transparent dye. So for now I'm gonna mask it off here because I want that black first coat to go on everywhere, and then we'll see. Unfortunately, there is a knot here in the wood. I'm not sure if that's gonna turn out to be a little ugly or if I just want to call it character. Now, obviously, when you get a cheap body from some Chinese mass production, you can't really expect any works of art. Now this cutaway here, this turns out to be pretty nightmarish to do. Forgive me if you have better ways to do it, or if you know better tape, or any ideas are appreciated, because I'm new at this. I have no previous practice, and yeah, I just have a feeling I want to do this, and I have some ideas. So feel free to leave me some comments if you know about better tools, better practices, better material, better tape to get this here properly masked. Okay, to the best of my ability, I have masked these edges. You can tell it's definitely not ideal, but you try to bend this masking tape into as smooth curves as possible. So I don't even know if when I apply the dye, if this will bleed under, or if the tape actually seals off. But I guess I'm about to find out. I'm a little bit excited, so I think I want to apply the first coat of black dye tonight here, and then let it soak in overnight. I hear often people referencing Angelus leather dye as a good product to dye guitar bodies. So I bought some of these off of Amazon. This one is black, and I'm gonna use nitrile gloves because I'm pretty sure this stuff is rough to get off of your skin. And I got some cotton balls. I think this should hopefully be a good tool to apply. And now I need to find a way to place the camera. Here goes nothing. Definitely black. I feel like I should go with the grain here. I'm not sure if that makes any difference. I'm gonna move from the masking tape towards the wood because I'm worried that it might get under and then ruin my plan. Of the masked edge, the full binding. Quite a lot of dye in this little cotton ball here. Impressive. Yeah, even if I make this part here, that forearm wrist, even if I make that in a different color, if I stick to that plan, I still want this also to have this black foundation first. Okay, kind of black. I feel it's a little uneven. I can definitely tell here's this area with that knot. So I wonder if I should give it a few minutes and then do a second coat. Just to get, I mean, I want to sand it down anyway. But maybe just to, there's a strange spot here that won't take color. Huh. Exciting. Seems to dry fairly quickly. The wood is definitely, this wood is so light, I think it has pretty open pores and it probably soaks up very quickly. I think I'm just gonna go with the second one here. Should I use a new ball? Maybe. I have a bad feeling that eventually I'm gonna have all this done and the color's gonna be kind of cool, and then I removed the tape and it went all under. It's my biggest fear right now. All right. Tomorrow I'm gonna sand it off. So this is what we have the next morning here. Like I thought, this weird spot here with the knot, I can already tell it's gonna give me a lot of trouble and it's gonna ultimately ruin the look, I think. So never mind, this is sort of a practice piece for me. Like I said, it was really cheap. It's like 30 something dollars for the body. So what do you expect when you pay for a proper Warmouth body, unfinished, I don't know, 400 or so, 300, 400. So I'm a little worried. I'm not sure if this tape's coming off here. But I don't want to peel it off either, because it might just be right and then I ruin it and I can't get it back in the same spot. So I just hope for the best and keep massaging it back in here and try to work away from it. But I fear something's gonna bleed under. So today's plan is to sand this back, and the hard part, of course, is where the tape is, because I don't want to sand it off. So I don't know. I have this here. This is a flexible sanding block. It's small. It's kind of it's rubbery. So this is usually used for detail work. I used it, for example, around the front door where you have these little nooks and crannies. So I hope this is gonna help me a little bit. This is like a Velcro backing here, and then it came in a kit with sanding strips. Now unfortunately, oh yeah, okay, it's written on it. It's a 220 here. So I think to sand it back somewhere between 200 and 300 should be okay. So I'm gonna try to do this now. So I'm trying to sand the black back where it stays in the grain. My biggest fear is that I ruin the tape, the masking tape that's on here. But I don't want to take it off either to redo it right now. So this this rubbery, bendy, flexible sanding block, I hope does the trick. I got my trusty orbital sander here, fairly cheap. I got a 220 grit sandpaper on here, and my plan is to sand the black dye back down, and hopefully it remains just in the grain. So we'll find out. Turns out I think I worked too hard. Not too much pressure is not good. Just let the orbital sander do the work. All right, I spent another 15 minutes or so with the orbital sander, and I think it came up pretty much as I hoped for. There's some black remaining in the grain here, so these grain lines come out nicely. That's kind of what I wanted to achieve. I don't need to worry about this. Going to be covered by the pickguard anyway. The masking tape holds up surprisingly well, so I hope I might have a few black edges left, but who knows, it might even look cool. I'm not sure yet. Like I said, a solid experimentation, first time. That knot here looks much better after the sanding, but it might turn out to be a problem again when I apply other dye. But for now, I am, I think, within the boundaries of what I was planning for. Okay, so I have some other dyes here from some other old experiments, different stuff. I have a red and an orange. And I was thinking I want this one probably to be transparent red and want to put a white perlite pickguard on it. But I'm not sure yet if I maybe wanted to have like just a very light burst towards a little more orangey in the middle. So I think for now I'm gonna apply an orange first, see what it looks like, how light it is, and I can always go with a darker red over it. And here on the side I'm not sure yet, I might even mix it to a green or something. But first, because I just sanded this, I take an old rag and some naphtha here, essentially lighter fluid, to just get the debris off, clean it. This dries very quickly. It gives you, for a brief moment when it's wet, gives you an idea what the wood actually looks like when it has a clear coat on it later. I experimented with dyes on a different guitar, but it was a different kind of project. It wasn't like this one here from scratch. Actually, for a $35, $32, $33 body, it's kind of handsome, except for that knot here. But again, I might call it character. If it's a problem when the dye is on and it turns out to be ugly, I'm gonna, I don't know, put a sticker on or something. Okay, that's nice and smooth. I wonder if I should mask this part off for now. Yes, that's what I'm gonna do. Right back, just get some tape. Not sure I can get this back on. A little tape. And for now, here's the slope line where it begins to taper off. I'm just gonna straight line. Because I still think I want this to be in a different color. I think that's gonna look sharp. Cotton ball is ready. This is orange Angelus leather dye here. Let's see what that's gonna look like. Ooh, that's orange. That's kind of gold and yellow. says orange. I would call that, what, amber? Huh. Not bad looking. Oh yeah, it becomes orange when it starts to dry. So this is going to be covered by the pickguard. Yeah, I think I definitely want this more red. But maybe with that orange underneath, the red becomes a little bit livelier. I hope. Because I don't want it to be too dull. I want it to be like a really intense red, but transparent. So let's see. This soaks up really quickly. And I think it's okay to just go right over it. Kind of mixes it a little with the orange. Experiments galore. I love it. Ooh, look at that. Oh, I just noticed when stuff dries so quickly, if you stop somewhere in the middle in your motion, you immediately get like a little edge where my cotton ball stopped. So it's better to go in long motions from edge to edge. Okay, once it dries and soaks it up, it seems a little dull. But honestly, I think from what I've read and here and there seen, that wet and intense look comes back in the end. I'm gonna do this a few times when it's sanded, and then I'm gonna go over with a clear coat, spray clear coat, like a 2K or something, and then buff it, and then I believe it gets that shiny, more intense look, I hope. For now, not bad. Not bad at all. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry a little bit, and then come up with further ideas. All right, first coat of the red dye, actually not too bad. There's more detail to the wood than I thought. Now here I moved the tape. I actually put a new strip on, because you can see my former tape, it didn't seal it off. It actually seeped underneath, and you see how blotchy that edge is. So I put on another strip, I mean, it's kind of insane to do the same thing and hope for a different result. I just try to press it on a little harder and see if that makes a difference. Because once again, this is really a practice piece. I'm pretty sure here around my intended faux binding, I will have the same situation, that it's seeped under there. But I want to see if it's at least possible at all with this tape, or if I need a different tape. If you have a suggestion, write me in the comments, please. Okay, I think I should put another red coat on here and then let it dry, see what it looks like. I don't have a tripod right now, so I'm gonna do it here one-handed. Okay, I'm using the same cotton ball, just dabbed it in some dye. I want to move a little fast so nothing sticks here and dries up. I think I need a new cotton ball, that's not good. All right, my second attempt is better. I pressed the tape on better, and now I got a clean line here. Now when this is dried up a little bit more, I'm gonna tape this off and apply a different color here. I think I might even leave a strip of the natural, and maybe I do this in yellow or green. Not sure yet. So I taped it off, tried to rub it down real good, and now I'm gonna apply just a little bit of yellow here. I think that'll look good with the red. Crap, I got a little into the black from the edge, still had a little bit of black. Yeah. Just get a clean cotton ball. There's a little bit of bleeding over there. Yeah, we'll find out. After looking at this for a while, I don't really like this. And I'm gonna go over the whole thing, I believe, with orange. And I think it's gonna lighten up that red a little bit, and this might be just a slightly lighter orange. See how that turns out. Yeah, I like that better, I think. This wood is really soaking it up. Almost like it soaks it right out of the cotton ball here.
I'm kind of pleasantly surprised that wood is actually it has some character to it. There's some cool marbling in here, almost like a hint of a flame, and a certain depth to it that I think will come out once it's clear coated. But I think I'd like that overall tone a little lighter. So it will gain character. It will gain character once it's clear coated and becomes glossy. But this is what I plan to put on later. I think I would like it to be lighter, a little more vibrant. So I think before I go ahead, I want to go with a coat of yellow over this, yellow dye, and see what that looks like. It's possible that I move the underlying red around when I do that, but like I said, it's all learning curve, and if I screw it up and just go over with another coat of red, it's definitely not bad. I just want to play with the colors a little to see what I can get out of it. I got some dye on my hands yesterday, some red. It's really a drag to get off your hands. Just 2-3 times washing your hands and taking a shower is not good enough. So if you do this, wear gloves. So this yellow dye, I went straight over the red, which in my mind would make a dark orange. In fact, it just seems to lighten up the red. Sets the red a little on fire here. It's kind of cool. Now it always looks better when you put it on in the first moment because then it's wet, and you get an idea of what it will look like later once it's clear coated and glossy. That knot here behaves surprisingly well. In the beginning, when I did the black coat and then sanded it a little bit, it looked awful. After more sanding, it went away, and now it's just a knot in the wood, and I'm okay with that. And then I will have to think about what to do with the backside. Also, when I take that tape off, I'm already dreading this because I think my faux binding is not going to work because I probably have too many spots where it's seeped under the tape, and I don't think I got a clean edge there. Pretty sure this is going to be blotchy, so I have to find out what to do with that. If I have to abandon this or what. The idea was I would make the back side of the guitar probably black, just to have a nice contrast with that binding when you turn it around. Hope the tape comes off clean. I had it on. This is now, I think, I started the night before yesterday, that evening. So my second day here, really. And the tape has been in place ever since. Alright, I think I'm good. So I'm going to let this sit here for an hour or so, and then I'm going to peel the tape off and see if I can maintain that edge. It's running. So I'm afraid when I take this blue tape off that a lot of my dye seeped under and I won't have a clean edge at all. So let's see how bad it is. Oh, it's pretty bad. Yeah, that's what I was worried about. So the original plan was I was gonna mask it off up to here and then dye the back and sides and then have a natural um, binding here. See it? This is what it's meant to be like. But I guess masking tape or painter's tape is not the best solution. Anybody out there knows a better product for this? Please let me know in the comments because this is a practice piece. The body was $32, but one day I want to do this to one that's actually good, high quality wood. I would hate to screw it up. Yep, that's an F. Oh, okay. I'll be back when I have an idea on what to do. Good stuff. I couldn't show this on camera. I was able to sand off a lot of the excess that seeped over. So it's definitely not clean. So very, very rough. Rough around the edges, literally. Um, but I'm thinking currently if I would somehow paint a black outline around here, just to get a clean, delimiter, then leave my space as planned, and then hopefully tape this off better, and then do the back and the sides. It might look actually very cool. Now the question is how I make the black edge. Probably needs to like some maybe oil paint and a little brush, or really dumb, just a Sharpie. Could try this. And one thing I definitely learned in this project is that orbital sander is a blessing. So most of these I could reach with the orbital sander because if you look at the way it's angled, you put the sander this way and then kind of start leaning it in. And that way you can at least selectively sand stuff off. Where it doesn't work is on the inside turns here. So with that I had to do a little bit of manual effort. Here it's really difficult. I can't get this off, but I hope I can incorporate this into the black line that I'm planning for.
This doesn't seem to cover. You assured me at the shop this would cover everything, but I'm not so certain.
Is Nico cooking? No, I think you know. Is he cooking though? Oh wait, what is that? Did you just use an ability? Who did that? Zoe killed Nico. I saw them top right.
Like at Rolls Royce where they do the
I see Nico also seeking.
decorative line by hand with a brush.
Okay, Zoe, Ohio, Cash, Billy. Can you just shoot whatever? Just wait for me way to Ohio U. I think we gotta go upstairs. There's definitely two people upstairs. 100%. Hey, oh, we see the circles. Someone's over here. Who's running away? Dude, there was someone in here. I don't understand.
That's some detail work I didn't anticipate, but could be worse if it helps. Paint marker, I gotta frequently shake it and then press the tip in, and then it fills from the paint reservoir. It fills that felt tip. I'm trying to get a cleaner edge here, and then maybe even later redo it to create this faux binding. Still hoping to tape it off better for the sides and the back. But it looks like I can use this thing here to at least correct. It doesn't cover 100%, but it seems to work if I go there, if I go over there multiple times. There's a little bit left over from my initial black dye here, but that actually looks cool. Gives it right around the white edge, gives a little bit of contrast. Almost like a pinstripe. Not by design, it's more a side effect. But I like that. Yeah, it's beginning to cover now. Okay. Nah, it comes back. It doesn't really cover. See here, the red starts bleeding through again. So I don't know if this with multiple coats will eventually work, or if it's just not the right material. I replaced the marker that I had with this one. This one seems to work better. I guess there's better paint in there. The console's the same. You gotta shake it and then soak the tip. But the paint is better, I believe. And honestly, I mean, there's still a little uneven spots here and there, but I think this looks kind of sharp. Very neat.
I just put the little handle on so I can maneuver the body around without touching any wet dye. I'm just gonna do the edges right now. Just once or twice around, then I remove the tape. I hope for a cleaner edge this time. I tried to massage the tape in really tight. And then once the edge is done and dried up, I can flip it around to the back side. I want to do the sides and the back is black. Classic, no need for any color experiments there. Here's my black Angelus leather dye. Cotton ball. Go around here. That way I hope to create this masked edge where I have a little gap with just the natural wood color plus the white pinstripe that I've painted on. And I hope that's gonna look cool. Okay, I don't need to show the whole thing. I'm gonna go around this twice here and then remove the tape. See you later then. Yes. Okay, I peeled off the tape already. It's not dry yet. It does look kind of cool. Now it might be a little wide, a little too wide, and also I did better than the first time, but there's definitely still some bleeding over. I'm gonna do the same thing I did with the white marker here. I'm gonna probably finish that off once it's dry with a black paint marker. Just solidify the edge and get that a little cleaner. And now I'm just gonna cover the back here in black dye. Fortunately, this stuff dries fairly quickly. I did already two coats around the edges. I'm gonna do 2 in the back. Just gonna let it sit, and then once it's dried for a day or two, I'm gonna cover it in sanding sealer. That's from a spray can. It's gonna need several coats of that. After that, I can sand it with some fine grit, just carefully, and then cover it in a clear coat, several coats of clear coat, and then start sanding and buffing it, and then hopefully it turns out shiny, glossy.
I had a few little hiccups with my masked edge. I decided to correct them with this here. And after a few more hiccups, I ended up with this now. So this is not really a binding anymore. This is way wider than a binding. It's more of a design feature now. But I gotta say, overall, I kind of like it. So my next step's gonna be, I'm gonna cover this, coat it in sanding sealer, several coats, and then hopefully I'll be able to sand it with a fine grit and then polish it. So this is my current state of affairs. This piece is going to be covered by the pickguard eventually. Now the only real concern I have optically is the knot, the knot in the wood here, like I said early on. But I mean, this is what you get when you buy a cheap piece of wood from China. It's definitely quickly grown, but overall it looks pretty neat, honestly. This is different than what I had in mind originally, but I like the look of it. It's kind of unique a little bit. Backside is just black. So this is all done with leather dye. Before I can put a clear coat on, I learned by reading and watching some instructional videos and so on that I need to seal this off with sanding sealer. I bought this Mohawk here. This is frequently recommended, and I guess I'm supposed to do 2 or 3 coats. And what this does is it locks the color in. So if I put clear coat on, it's not gonna have a reaction with it and then somehow lift it off or whatever. Currently, if I work on it, I just rub my finger on it or something, you see that it actually comes off. So this is gonna lock it in. Now I have a back and front here. I'm just gonna do the front first a few times, then flip it over, put it on a cardboard, and do the back. And I guess I need to let this dry for, I think, an hour or 2 between coats. I'm gonna look that up in between. So here we go. I'm outside here. It's not too windy. So first a thin mist coat, I believe. Just kind of evenly try to cover it. Smells awful. So do it outside on a well ventilated area. And I wonder if I overdid it here already. See, there's one spot where it's too wet. I'm definitely gonna let it sit. I'm not gonna leave it outside because there could be dust flying around here and settle on it. I don't want that to happen, so I'm gonna take it back in and then put another coat on in an hour or so. So I just read up a little. The first coat dries within 10 minutes and can be recoated 20-30 minutes later. It's about 25 minutes now. I'm going to do a second coat, and then supposedly I have to wait for an hour to do the third one. I might even do 4 or 5 just to be safe. So I'm a little bit terrified of sanding later and buffing and then getting the paint off. So it's just obviously a rattle can here. Alright, here comes another one. If you do it outside, spray with the wind in your back so it doesn't spray right in your face, obviously. Yeah, a little thicker now. Okay, it's getting a little bit of a darker appearance now. The colors start to pop some more. It's probably because it's wet right now. But I hope to maintain some of that later. Okay, so by now I have 3 coats of sanding sealer on the front and around the sides that I could reach on the guitar body. The last coat was a little thicker. The first 2 were kind of mist coats and had only 25-30 minutes in between. The second break was more like 2-3 hours, and I put a thicker coat on. And it already looks kind of nice. I moved to the garage now because it's too windy in the backyard. Also dark. So I'm gonna flip it over now. I have this little mat here that came with, I forgot what it came with. So this already has a nice sheen to it. Definitely looks better than without any product on it. But later when I buff it, I hope it's gonna become shiny. Anyways, the backside is just black dye. So transparent black. There's not much to be said about that because after all, it's not a quilted maple or flame maple or anything. Gotta rattle my sanding sealer and then do the same to the back, to the front. Lock the color in. So later when I spray a clear coat on, I'm gonna use a 2K clear coat. It's not gonna react with the pigment in the dye and create some weird clouding. That's what I read would happen. So the sanding sealer, yeah, does that. It seals the finish before the sanding. So I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to do one mist coat, wait 20-30 minutes, do a second mist coat, then wait 2 hours or so and do a heavy coat. So just let the mist settle here. Should be good enough for now. I'm gonna leave it out here. My 3 coats of sanding sealer on, front and back. I want to scuff sand this a little bit because there's some areas on the body, especially in the cutaways, that are rough. Before I put on the clear coat. So I hope I got some sheets of sanding paper, 1,000, 1,500, 200. I hope the 1,000 is good enough. And I'm just going to try to work my way around it here and just make it a fairly smooth surface before I apply clear coat. So let's hope for the best. Maybe I should start on the black side because I mean new pieces now. Because as soon as I start sanding, I get some of the dye on here. So that tells me I need to be really gentle and not sand through the color. Actually, this top is fairly smooth. It's really more the sides that give me a problem here. So I'm going to start on the back here. Back and edges. Uh-oh. Everything comes off immediately. Yeah, my white acrylic marker, whatever that is, comes off right away. Although I have sanding sealer on there. I guess I'm gonna have to redo this. I need to smooth here. Do this with a machine, but my orbital sander or any other electric sander I can think of will not get into any of these places here. Also, apparently the sanding sealer is really super thin. Oh, this works already. Cool. It doesn't need a lot. So my white edge here, my fake binding, I have to redo, I guess, before I put the clear coat on. This comes off right away. Not too bad. Did not see that coming. Alright, almost good. I just have to take that white marker out again, redo this, and I hope that stuff's not going to react with clear coat, because I was hoping I was done with the sanding sealer, and apparently that doesn't help with this anyways. Help with the dye but not with the marker. Alright. Now I have to redo those white edges that I just messed up. I hope that I can spray clear coat over this stuff and it's not going to lift it off. Because now this is not what I had originally in mind. I kind of like the look now. I guess this one sits just on top of the material, unlike the dye that actually penetrates the wood grain. Okay, now let this dry, and I hope that this will not react with the clear coat. So by the way, I didn't mention this, but this stuff is toxic. So if you spray it, at least in a closed room, spray it with a respirator mask. Outside is just too windy, so even then, if you're getting close, wear a mask. I'm gonna do a few more coats around the edges and so on. Turns out, because I'm an ignorant idiot, I haven't used this right. This is a 2-component product, and there's actually a can in a can. Now I've been shaking this for 2-3 minutes now, making the Riddle can, but there's a pin at the bottom here that needs to be pressed in, and then these 2 components in their mix, and that's what makes the real thick clear coat, I guess. I'm gonna do this now. So there is a red cap in here. Need to get out somehow, I guess. Yep, like this. And this goes here at the bottom. It's just a button, essentially. Just with 20-30 minutes in between. I'm kind of terrified of screwing this up, and I'm reluctant to sand, and the top is pretty smooth already. So what I want to do here first is I'm using a buffing pad here, which is a kind of soft foam pad, and this finishing polish. I'm gonna buff this a little with the orbital sander with this buffing pad, and it's already started here. I forgot to record. And I hope this is gonna work. Now I notice that there is stuff getting stuck in the grain, and now that I see this, I remember at some point reading about grain filler, and I have a very bad feeling now that I should have used some grain filler, which I haven't. So we'll see if this leads me to some sort of success, or if I have to redo the whole thing. See if I can place the phone here a little bit. See if this does anything useful. So the good news is there's no color coming off, so I sealed it off. Good. It's smooth. Can't feel the grain, but I gotta say I kind of like this. It is shiny. It's very glossy. I'm gonna wipe it off with a damp rag, because there is still a little bit of white residue in the grain here. I hope that comes off. But as of now, it's definitely not what I had in mind when I started the whole thing. But it's not bad. Kind of unique looking. Definitely you can tell it's handmade. and not with super expertise, but as character. It's very smooth. Neat. I think I like it. For the little bit more complex curves and corners, I got some of these polishing add-ons here for a drill. I hope my battery powered drill is sufficient. If not, I'm gonna have to get the cable one. Just gonna try to get in those cutaways and stuff. Okay. Let's see if that works at all. Currently a little dull in here. Tell you. Oh, this does work. Surprisingly well. Didn't get all the spots yet, but the inside of the cutaway here is beginning to be nice and glossy. I think you can see the reflection here. Alright, I'm going to continue doing this. Okay, so this is where I am. I have made tons of mistakes, learned a lot, but still have a lot to learn. My very biggest concern, and I hope some of you maybe have good advice for me, is when I try to mask off parts of the body. I use blue painter's masking tape, and the results were mediocre to horrible. So I had to rub it really in hard, but the problem is when I applied dye, it started seeping under the tape, and in some areas worse than in others. So I fixed that, or I remedied it by actually drawing by hand with a paint marker these white edges, and this kind of went a little overboard, and it got away from my original vision. So if you guys have any product that you would suggest, please leave that in the comments with me. The other big mistake I made is, well, it's at least, yeah, it's probably a mistake. I should have used grain filler before I applied dye and the clear coat, because what happened is the clear coat is sealed, but you can definitely feel the grain in the surface. Now, personally, I don't mind, but it's not what I intended. It has a little bit the appearance of like a really shiny leather now, where you also have grain in it, and it feels nice. It feels solid, and ultimately the color scheme looks good. This is, I have the pickguard here at least lined up at this on this last picture, but I think it would ultimately, with more sanding and more polishing and so on, it might pose a problem. So definitely next time I do something like this, I use grain filler. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, here we are. Currently, I don't have the hardware to complete this build, but this whole experience was mainly about finishing a body from scratch. Hope you like it, enjoy my mistakes, or have advice for me, because I want to do something like this in the future again. And yeah, it was a fun project, and overall I enjoyed it. Some of the wait times are a little too long with work and all, but nevertheless worth it. I will try something like this again. And this is where I currently am, and I have an old Squire neck that I will mount, but I still need hardware. I need a jack here and so on. So I'm gonna eventually post the final build. Thank you guys, and I'm checking out. Bye bye.